News Talk 98.9, the roar of Memphis. Tool Talk Radio with Joe and Allan.
Brought to you by the Pee Wee Herman Look-alike World Championships. Contestants will be judged on costume and appearance, as well as their ability to display those unique Pee Wee Herman mannerisms that children find so funny and that gave the rest of us nightmares. You'll never forget what you see at the Pee Wee Herman Look-alike World Championships.
I know where I'm going when I get out of here.
I know where I'm not going.
Welcome to Tool Talk Radio, coming to you from the Brown Refrigeration Studios. I'm Joe Thorderson with Thor's Hammer, Carpentry and Wood Turning.
And I'm Allan Gilbreth with GeekySideTV.com.
It's a little wet over here, Allan.
It's a little rising damp, buddy.
We're broadcasting live, God willing, and as long as the weather cooperates, we're over here at the 33rd Annual Cooper Young Festival. Boy, what a blast, Allan. Let's just hope it doesn't rain, though. Harder than it is now.
Well,
So, yeah.
It is Cooper Young. So, of course, all of the great community is out. A lot of amazing vendors are already set up, and
Yeah,
look,
it's great.
everybody looks pretty ready to go.
Oh, yeah. Well, we're ready to go. Max Million's back at the studio. I don't know why he gets the easy gig today. He's the lowest paid of all of us. But anyway, hey, Allan, today this is going to be interesting. I want to build on our discussion of using it's a science discussion, building homes out of unique, let's say, futuristic parts. That's going to start. The way we build our homes is going to get.
So what you're
very
trying to say is, construction-wise, we're going back to the future.
Right, absolutely. We have another segment of these kids today. Some of the things
easily.
that I like that one. That's pretty good. And actually, Allan, you write books. You like to write. Sometimes, especially for novelists, books take on a life of their own. You have a map, you have an outline of an idea that you want to do, but then characters start telling you what they're going to do. Well, home improvement projects can be very similar. So we're going to talk about when a home improvement project has a life of its own and how to roll with it and make the best of it. And we have lots of other things. I think our buddy Kelly Cruz from Weichert Realtor is going to swim by over here later. And also, we would love to talk to you if you want to give us a call on the Big M Roofing and Remodeling Hotline at 901-683-0989. And, of course, come on down to the Cooper Young Festival and visit us at the News Talk 98.9 The Roar promotion booth. But before we get to any of that...
And now, Tool Talk Radio's Weekly Salute.
Throughout our long history, humanity has often been called to rise above. In the realm of first responders, firefighters, police officers, and paramedics have often had to rise above the danger of a situation in order to perform their noble duties. In the realm of baseball, the Chicago Cubs MVP Ben Zobrist had to rise above the tension of the moment in the 10th inning of the 2016 World Series to be able to hit his game-clinching double. You remember that moment, Allan? Right? One of the best moments of my life. And, of course, in the realm of the culinary arts, Allan Gilbreth had to rise above his disappointment at the last annual PTA Surf and Turf cooking competition when his offering of a teriyaki glazed ostrich stuffed with a bourbon marinated octopus, topped with sun-dried oysters, and served on a bed of pickled cow tongues failed to take home the first place trophy. I don't know why.
That was the Cthulhu special. Come on, man.
In the realm of home improvement, however, there are many times when we have to quite literally rise above the place we are standing so we can reach the area we need to work on, necessitating the use of a ladder. And though the ladder has been around for thousands of years, periodically throughout its history, improvements have been made to its design. In the year 1862, a patent was filed for an elegantly simple yet highly functional ladder design that became so popular that today virtually every homeowner in America owns at least one of them. My friends, we give you the A-frame ladder.
Yay!
Oh, yeah. I mean, Allan, talk about the, next billion-dollar idea. So the A-frame ladder. How many do you own, sir? I got 3.
3.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree with him.
Okay, so let's give credit where credit's due. In the year 1823, John H. Bosley, he was a master carpenter and inventor, and I wonder, did he accidentally cut his ladder in half and then just piece it together with hinges or something? But
no, I can guarantee what he did was he needed that space away from the wall.
Right.
So what he was doing was he was propping something against the wall and then putting the ladder on that. Then he just went, yeah, I could take this prop with me.
Right.
And ta-da!
Yeah, I'm just thinking about life. But, once again, Allan, here at Tool Talk Radio, we like to celebrate. I don't want to say celebrate the obvious, but at the same time, what the heck did they do for, like, changing the light bulbs on a chandelier with some of these Victorian places or something?
You
in
built
the
the
center
scaffolding out of reeds.
What a pain.
That's
I
why.
mean,
That was also known as job of, how did we call that? I would say turnover.
Yeah, who gets to test that one or something?
Yeah, you didn't. Yeah. And the bad part is keep in mind, Victorian times, you weren't up there changing light bulbs.
Right.
You were putting a new wick in the oil-based burning system.
Oh, so you're dealing with flammables, oil.
You
You're
can catch
dealing
on
with
fire and fall.
Yeah, and being up on a scaffold in the middle, just that little swaying action can be unsettling. I don't know, man.
That little swaying action, yeah. It can be very unsettling.
Well, we hope it's not too unsettling for you listening to Tool Talk Radio here on News Talk 98.9 The Roar. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about when a home improvement project has a mind of its own.
Tool Talk Radio with Joe and Allan.
Now, this is the forklift. You need a license to operate this machine. That means the upstairs office workers can't drive it. Quiz, Mike, should you drive the forklift?
I can and I have.
No.
News Talk 98.9, The Roar of Memphis.
Allan, get away from that forklift. And welcome back to Tool Talk Radio, coming to you from the Brown Refrigeration tent here at the 33rd Annual Cooper Young Festival. I'm Joe Thorderson with Thor's Hammer, Carpentry, and Woodturning, here with my buddy Allan Gilbreth from Geeky Side TV, and our buddy Max, who's back at the station, sitting nice and dry. We had to canoe here. It was a little wet, but hey, we'd love to, I think maybe a text today, Allan. Call or text us
text us.
It's a little squirrely
we
over here.
There's too much going on.
At the Big M Roofing and Remodeling Hotline at 901-683-0989. And, of course, make sure you scoot over to the Tool Talk Radio Facebook page and give us a like and join the Tool Talk Radio community. So, hey, Allan, before the break, we sort of teased something, and it's funny. We talk about some of the crossover with different skill sets and how they often intersect. And we've talked about carpentry and home improvement intersecting with writing. I'm looking over here at Allan. Allan writes books. Shocking and disturbing books, but he is an author, so he knows the experience. And I've written a few stories myself. They're more short stories, but they do involve fictional characters. You know the experience, Allan. So you start, you map out a story. You start basically, putting the story together, and you have an idea of where these characters are going to go. But then the characters have a mind of their own, right?
2 o'clock in the morning, they're going, we're not going to do that. We're going to go over here. You want us to go through the big door? We're not going through the big door. We're going down this creepy hallway over here.
Right.
And, we call that, at that point, you go from plotting out your design to flying by the seat of your pants.
Well, because the basic gist with that, so, and people, if you're a writer, you probably have experienced this. So basically what you find, and I bet when you were a young writer, Allan, you fought against that. You're like, no, this is my book. Shut up and do what I tell you to do, right?
And then 6 sleepless weeks later, you give in and do whatever the characters tell you to do. And
almost without fail, when you start yielding to the guidance of your characters, you get better results, and you just it becomes a better story, right?
Oh, absolutely.
And any writer will tell you that. Well, Allan, that is very similar to a lot of home improvement projects. You go in there, you map the whole project out. You've got your grand scheme. In fact, this just happened at a project I'm working on down in Harbortown.
Okay.
And so we have our ideas, and then all of a sudden reality throws a wrench at you, or maybe a better idea came along and you need to modify it. And so what I guess I'm advocating is a certain flexibility, because, let a project evolve as it's going to evolve.
Well, let's start with one of my favorite segments of the show, 30 Years of Stupid.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Because every time you change something about a building, anytime you get in or you start thinking, all right, what do I want to do with this garden? Or how do I want to move this? Or I want to remodel the kitchen. Keep in mind, somebody else has already had that thought.
Right.
And the older the property is, the more times somebody has had that thought.
Sure.
And some of them were well thought out. Most of them, in our experience, are not.
No.
So,
well, we'd be out of a job,
you know,
Alan.
that's where you get that. Wow, they actually walled off an entire air duct into the wall.
This is
so I've been cooling the attic for the last 5 years.
Yeah, this is sort of my theory on this has sort of evolved as the longer I've done this kind of work, Alan. Because there was a day, I'll be honest, we had the blueprints, we had the project outline, we had our materials list, we had a grand vision, and it's like you stick to that vision, and everybody, and honestly, those are some of the most stressful jobs we ever had. If you're sort of flexible and can roll with it, a lot of times maybe the house is telling you, no, I don't want this, I want this, something else.
Well, you know, and a lot of the TV shows out there right now will tell you, listen to the bones.
What does that mean?
Well, you know, is this load bearing? Is this not load bearing? If it's load bearing, you might want to rethink that open concept right here.
Right.
Because now you're going to get into what should have been a relatively simple, quick job. You're now literally re-engineering the building.
Yeah. Yep.
So a lot of times, I think if you also will, all right, we've also talked about this, because I'm going to throw in admit your lifestyle.
Yeah. Which I wish you'd get a new phrase because it sounds weird,
no,
but go ahead.
Because admit your lifestyle is so true. Your house is the living proof this works.
Yeah. Well, my house is its own, okay.
Your house is its own story all by itself. But, you know, when you guys quit trying to shoehorn in, well, this is supposed to be that kind of room.
Right.
And when you guys abandoned all hope and just did what you should have done, life became so much easier, a lot more fun.
Yeah.
And you got more out of it.
Well, and I want to say this is something I've already kind of worked into my one thing I will say, Alan, after doing this for a while, I've gotten much better at the very beginning of the project in managing expectations, promising less, delivering more, and opening up the right communication with my client, with my customers. Because for example, I want to give a big shout out to a couple I'm working with right now. Fred and Lauren, they're in Harbortown. We had a surprise thrown at us. I'm building a screened-in porch for them, and it involves modifying some of the outside walls. It involves moving. It involves demolition and reconstruction. And from the beginning, they've been super flexible. We had an issue with some wires being located in the wrong spot.
Okay.
It was a total surprise, and so what we all agreed on was we said, to reconfigure this, let's make all of this look like we did it on purpose. Let's make this
awesome.
Yeah, that's a good philosophy, I think.
Well,
don't react, with horror. Just take advantage of an opportunity.
Well, let's look at it as occasionally you get handed a decorating gift.
Talk to me.
Well,
that sounds good.
In one particular case, we were looking at one property, and we kept trying to. Everything they came up with didn't really honestly work. And it was basically
you talking about the clients?
Well, yeah, the client kept going, all right, well, we want to try this. And they would look at it, and we draw it out, and like, well, it's still not getting there. It's still not getting there. And part of the problem was they had this just basically a little bit of bulwark that was kind of covering a vent a little bit. And when we finally just gave in and just went, look, why don't we think this the other way? Let's use this as the starting point. Now, what would you like to do from there?
Sure.
And suddenly it actually made it a lot easier because we also had a lot of wires to hide.
Yeah.
So instead of having to try to figure out how to re-engineer this whole wall, we just re-engineered the decorating across the ceiling, and now we had tons of storage, tons of places to hide stuff. And the client was really happy with the outcome.
Well, and a lot of times there's a certain energy that this brings to a project. Like everything's chugging along really smooth, and all of a sudden you get thrown this curve. Well, when you overcome that And when you come up with a solution, it sort of reinvigorates everybody. It's like, wait a minute. Okay,
Well,
this is
and
exciting.
some of them are simply elegant.
Right.
I mean, it could be as simple as, if we move this 1 foot to the left,
Right.
it totally changes the whole thing.
Yeah. Yep. It's pretty cool, man. And one thing I would say is having those discussions up front, though. Like, one of the things I do in the proposal stage, Allan, is I always work into the contract in the event of, such and such. There may be unanticipated, jobs that have to be done. There may be unanticipated, things that come up. And if you take care of those conversations up front, it saves you a lot of trouble.
Well, generally, all right, of course, if you're dealing with domestic partners,
Yeah.
you're dealing with a husband and wife or whoever is in the house.
Right.
It could be mother, daughter, whatever. But, often you discover they really have different ideas of style.
Yeah.
And maybe they both like the solution, and maybe they both really don't.
Yeah.
So a lot of times sitting down and having that little conference, it's kind of like, okay, it's not if we're going to run into a problem.
Mhm.
It's when we run into a problem.
Sure.
What do you want to do about it? Which one of you is going to be the point person? Which one of you is going to make this decision? Because honestly, if it's the family member that is mostly in charge of the kitchen, they should make the decision.
Yeah. Good point.
If it's the family member that's mostly in charge of the other part of the room, maybe they're the backyard person. All right, well, we're doing a patio, then that needs to be the person that answers that question.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Everybody's got their lane, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah.
And sometimes it's hard to admit you have a lane.
Yeah. But it's not always easy for everybody to do that. One thing I will say, Allan, though, is if you're the contractor like us and you come up with a solution that actually saves them a little money to fix the problem, suddenly it's a much easier sell.
Oh, yeah. Well, you look at them, this answer is $3,000. This answer over here is a $200 trip to the big box store.
Right.
Generally we know which one is going to be the happier, more cheerful answer to that question.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think we're gonna continue that sort of theme. I love the notion of these surprises, but conquering them. Well, you're listening. There's not too many surprises. You're listening to Tool Talk Radio, coming to you from the Brown Refrigeration tent. We're going to take at News Talk 98.9 The Roar, Memphis. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back.
Tool Talk Radio with Joe and Allan.
We painted the whole house, and without getting a drop of paint on anything but the flapping flotsam. What's that?
News Talk 98.9 The Roar of Memphis.
I don't even know how SpongeBob paints underwater. But anyway, welcome to Tool Talk Radio, coming to you from the Brown Refrigeration tent at the 33rd Annual Cooper Young Festival. And Allan, we need to give, I'm Joe Thorderson here with my buddy Allan Gilbreth from Geeky Side TV.
Yeah, and we're sitting out here looking at everybody walking around, but we want to throw in a very special thanks to Alchemy Restaurant and Nick Scott. Without you guys, we would literally have no power. Thank you so much.
And I'm looking forward to getting in there later. It'll probably be a little busy, but boy, what a cool restaurant!
What a amazing looking place.
And
there's definitely going to be a dinner there.
And actually, Allan, they've got a little private room. I think we're going to post this on our Facebook page. They have one of the most unique ceiling fans in there, and it's really cool. It's highly effective and totally stylish.
You can tell we're a bunch of tool guys. We walk through a really cool place, and the first thing we orient on is the dual fan rotating back room.
Absolutely. Yeah. So big shout out to Alchemy. Thanks so much for the power. And so far, we're not
They've
getting
been
washed
so
out.
great.
You know who? And another way to look at it is it's a lot of this Tool Talk Radio is Larry Brown's fault, if you want to.
In so many ways.
But if you do need any HVAC needs, or if you need especially like the clean air systems and the smart home technology, and one thing I love about
those Remy Halos,
the Remy Halo system, what I love is they're always on the cutting edge of technology. They're making our house cleaner and keeping us cool and keeping us warm, and also the security you get with the smart home system.
Indeed.
And they're just fun people. And like I said, if you call in, make sure you ask Mrs. Brown to tell you a joke. I know she loves that.
Oh,
so.
yeah. Well,
anyway, super easy to get in touch with them at 901-362-1881, or you can always go to their very easy to remember website, brownref.com. roofingroof.com. I think today, Allan, it's probably best to text us at the Big M Roofing and Remodeling hotline at 901-683-0989. We could try a phone call, but let's face it, Allan, we're flying by the seat of our pants here. So far, Mother Nature has held off, and it's it's people are walking around here. I'm seeing the vendors get set up. If you can get down here, it's a lot of fun. We're at the corner of Cooper and Young. Just find the gazebo. We're about 10 feet away from the famous gazebo. So, thanks for that reminder, Ditch. But anyway, hey, Allan, before the break,
reminds you any more subtly, he's going to hit you with that cup.
Yeah. I want to put a pin in our discussion of futuristic building materials.
Okay, so we're not going back to the future?
No, we will shortly, but first I want to get to our must-have item of the week because I have a feeling it's going to be relevant, and this does relate to the project I've been doing in Harbortown.
Okay,
that is the 10. I didn't bring one in because I figured this is not that hard to describe, and it's not all that exciting of a photo. But anyway, it's a roll of 10 foot by 25 foot heavy-duty plastic, the darker plastic.
Right.
I can't tell you. It's probably $12 or something like that for a roll. I get a couple of those. This is my thing. When I get to a job site, I get a couple of those, and I construct, before I do anything, I construct a temporary shelter. And for one thing, it keeps the sun off of you. It's easy, if it gets torn up throughout the course of the project, I just cut it up and toss it. But when you get those days where it's just slightly drizzly, it's not enough for you to shut down, or you get those days when it's 95 and blazing sun.
Oh yes,
these things are a lifesaver, man. And or laying them on the ground to protect. So
yeah, my favorite is the canvas version of that.
Talk to me.
Doing the exact same thing. It's just your good old fashioned everyday canvas drop cloth. Can be everything from a life-saving tent to warmth to cover of, and I know it's a material, and everybody goes, oh, well, that's not going to stop the rain. You know what, guys? If it's set up at an angle, that rain will roll down that canvas and come off the far end and not necessarily get you.
Well, and here's the other thing. This is what I've noticed too, Allan. So when, for going back to this job here in Harbortown, so I set up this temporary, I use 2 of these because this is a pretty big patio cover I'm doing. So I set it up, I rig up the plastic, and immediately what that does as well is it gives the clients a feel for what this is going to be like once the patio cover is finished. Like, oh, this is going to be pretty nice having this enclosure. The sun is not,
I'm not baking while I'm standing here. Yes.
Right.
Yeah, we are in the South, and we a quick shout out to everybody this past week. We've gotten a lot of responses from literally all over the country.
Well, I wanted perfect timing, Allan. Okay. Talk to me, because I wasn't here, of course. I was busy meeting Ryan Dempster from the Chicago Cubs, World Series champion, two-time All-Star. Anyway, Ryan Dempster, big shout-out to him. Okay. But I wasn't here. But you said that you got some follow-up.
Well, the infamous Brandon Olmsted and I jumped in here last week, and we took Tool Talk to the dogs and the cats and raccoons and koalas and kangaroos and anything else we could think of. However, one of our conversations was adapting your home and admitting your lifestyle a little bit. If you got cats and dogs and stuff like that, having the proper ingress and egress for them was important.
Yeah.
And we got kind of an unexpected follow-up on that as I'm looking over at Brandon now and go, we actually heard from a variety of our listeners down in New Orleans that talked about setting up like the pathway we talked about for their cat. They said, well, they couldn't evacuate the dog or the cat because of constraints, and so they left the doggy door open, the cat door open, whatever, and the animals were just fine when they got back as soon as they got power. And they were talking about, and of course I thought this was such a wonderful cat story. They think the only thing the cats noticed during the entire hurricane was that possibly the power was out.
Oh, really?
Because they were not stressed. They were just doing their thing and hanging out.
I thought animals hate lightning and storms and things like that. So
well,
they're not fazed by 100-mile-an-hour winds? Or?
Well, they do, but by the time Mom and Dad got back to the house, everything was chilled and groovy, and the patio was fine, and everybody was having a good time.
Yeah, okay.
So just a quick kind of shout-out that, of home improvement is not just necessarily for the humans.
Okay. No, and in fact, I've done a project like that, Alan. As long as we're talking about it, I did a, I guess you could call it a cat condominium. This lady, she's a good customer of mine, and she admits she's starting to go down the crazy cat lady road.
Okay, well, cat condos are cool.
I think she's up to 3 now. I think once you get past 2, you're qualifying.
Yeah, you're in the starter kit. When you get to 5, you know you get your button.
Yeah, big shout out to Margaret Ann. But what she had in mind, Alan, was she wanted all the litter box and all the food and everything out in the garage. And so she basically, I created a doorway between the wall and the garage and then put it there so she could get out. So,
well, one of the coolest things I got to do was a little modern art of in a home. They had a couple of cats that they truly loved and adored. So what they were doing was we carpet covered a lot of shelving and went in and did a heavy-duty shelving install at different angles and levels all up and down this wall.
Nice.
And basically, it was kind of like watching cat Tetris. Because they were just bouncing all up in, I mean, they were having the best time all up on this wall. It was better than watching television.
Yeah.
And it was a relatively inexpensive, and I'm not going to say super easy, but I'm going to say something you could DIY. But you just want to make sure that the shelves were up good and tight. You didn't want your cat falling off the wall.
Yeah.
But carpet covering everything. And the fun part is they had a little fun with the colors, and it matched up beautifully. And I got to admit, it was a lot of fun and relaxing watching the cats run and play through basically a cat pinball machine.
Oh, absolutely. I think there's a future in that, Alan. Because let's face it, people are very hardcore about their pets. But
people love their animals, man.
And I will say this too: people sometimes I know some people that they invite stress into their lives, but because of things like with pets. And if you just think it through and make it not, convenient and enjoyable for the pets, it just makes your life that much better.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, if you're going to adopt a pet of any kind, keep in mind, this is going to be a commitment. Animals live for a few years. They're going to be with you. And the number one thing you got to really think of, and I'm going to be a little blunt, is it's going to be poop control.
Yeah.
Because, if it goes in one end, it's going to come out another. So you got to have the ability to take care of that.
Yeah.
And once you're past that point, you get to enjoy the animal.
Speaking of poop control, you're listening to Tool Talk Radio here on News Talk 98.9, The Roar of Memphis. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, Alan, we're going to get science-y and talk about the future materials you'll be building your homes out of.
Tool Talk Radio with Joe and Allan.
Sorry about the mess. I've really let the place go since you killed me. By the way, thanks for that.
Sarcasm self-test complete.
News Talk 98.9, The Roar of Memphis.
Do they have a microphone set up at your house, Alan? Anyway, welcome back to Tool Talk.
How did you get that down in the basement? I'm surprised.
I don't know, man. But anyway,
wow.
Welcome back to Tool Talk Radio, coming to you from the Brown Refrigeration tent.
Well, there we
here
go.
At the Cooper Young Festival at the corner of Cooper and Young. We're about 10 feet away from the famous gazebo. I guess it's famous, right?
It is now.
I'm Joe Thorderson with Thor's Hammer, Carpentry, and Wood Turning, here with my buddy Allan Gilbert from Geeky Side TV. You can text us today at the Big M Roofing and Remodeling Hotline at 901-683-0989. And, of course, we encourage you to get over to our Tool Talk Radio Facebook page. Give us a like, join the Tool Talk Radio community, and of course, send us your messages, send us your videos, send us pictures of your home improvement triumphs, whatever whatever floats your boat. So, and of course, if you're just waking up and you missed any part of Tool Talk Radio, never fear. You can go to tooltalkradio.com and check all of our past shows out.
You can indeed.
In a minute, Alan, we're going to discuss the future of some of the future materials of home improvement. Before we do, though, I want to remind everybody, Alan, a kitchen and bathroom remodel is nothing to play games with.
Well, they are the most valuable 2 rooms in the house.
However, it's also doesn't have to be daunting or scary or as overly expensive if you do it right. We strongly encourage you to get in touch with the good people at Tri-State Interiors. Mike Serafolian, he runs a great operation out over there. His focus is on craftsmanship and purposely keeping low overhead. There's things that save you a lot of money when it comes down to the kitchen remodel, and the big focus should be craftsmanship. And one thing I really love what they do over there, Allan, is before they even begin, they order all of the parts, they order all of the cabinets, they order all of the materials, and they keep them in their warehouse. That's important.
Well, you start out generally his biggest thing is let's get the shopping done now.
Right.
Then let's get everything in. So not only did you get what you wanted, you went and selected, you made your choices, then everything comes in, and then you do not get that. We're waiting 6 weeks for that last window.
As half your kitchen is gutted, and
we're destroyed, and we can't go on without the window.
Yeah, there's none of that with Tri-State Interiors. And the other cool thing is they're very high tech, Allan. So basically, they will make a 3D rendering of what your kitchen is going to look like, and you can download it on your phone or your computer, any smart device, and you can kind of take a tour of your kitchen, and you get a good sense of what it's going to look like. And if you go, I think I might want to change the shade of those cabinets, or I want to, maybe rethink the tile. Well, you can do it all before you've done any demolition. So it's a really great way they operate. So we highly recommend Tri-State Interiors. Get in touch with Mike Serafolian at 901-409-1333. And you can also go to their website, tristateinteriorsllc.com. All right, Allan, this was interesting. I was in, I was in Chicago last week visiting beautiful and historic Wrigley Field, meeting Ryan Dempster, all-star, blah, blah, blah. Introducing my daughter, Michaela, to the world of the Cubs. No, I think she's a fan now. Anyway, so, Allan, I was driving, we're in the car, and we're driving, and I go past this billboard, and it says, we have the largest, we have the best selection of lab-grown diamonds in the Midwest. Well, that caught my attention. Okay, I'm like, 10 years ago, we would have never seen this billboard. But
no, we did that story probably about 5 years ago.
Yeah, well, you've brought us information about it's the way that materials are developed and the way materials are produced is gonna bleed into home improvement. The other thing I thought of, Allan, is I'm very fascinated with the space elevator that engineers are talking about.
Right.
And when they don't talk about whether it's possible. What they talk about is folks, if you don't know what that is, it's going to be hundreds of miles long. It's like basically it's almost like a tetherball type of thing. They use the Earth. I don't know how to describe this in 30 seconds. Anyway,
basically,
Google
what
a
they're going to do,
space
we're going
elevator.
to elevate you, let the Earth turn underneath you, and bring you back down.
Which necessitates very strong cables, basically. And so
one would hope.
They're talking about nanofibers, nanotechnology, and all of this. And so once they get that set for the space program, it's only a matter of time before we start seeing it in our homes.
Well, here's the great thing. No matter what the innovation is, there's at least 4 other companies out there and 200 people all going, what else could I do with this?
Right.
And once again, accidental discoveries of how about nonstick?
Yeah. Teflon.
Well, it's well beyond Teflon now. But Teflon was an accidental discovery that really changed several industries.
Yeah.
From cooking to medical. And now the whole nonstick idea is being carried even further. I mean, we're down to zero friction swimsuits.
Oh, okay.
And these are all ideas of how do we make stuff less sticky? How do we make it less friction? So when we start looking forward to what are we going to build with, I'm going to say we're going to be looking at Back to the Future.
Yeah.
Because we are going back in time for a lot of our building materials because you know what? They worked.
Right.
And now how we're going to apply that is going to be more interesting.
Yeah.
Because, the old days of building a house out of cob, a cob house will still work. And a cob house is basically sand, mud, and hay.
Well, yeah. And I'm
But-
thinking, Alan, I'm thinking of these nanofibers too. For example, like, well, okay, I'm thinking of a few things. The 3D printer. You said, you know,
Exactly.
the day may come when we 3D print little replacement parts instead of even running to the hardware store. You'll say, honey, I'm going to work. We need a new spatula. Will you 3D print it, and then it's ready by the time you get home, or something like that. But I'm thinking of these nanofibers. If these things become strong enough, I don't know. Could they replace some of the framing in our house? Could we have load-bearing walls that are an inch thick instead of 5 inches thick or something? You know, I don't know.
Well, I'm going to tell you now, all of that already exists.
Talk to me.
Well, you know, here we go. So let's get into nanotechnologies. And a lot of times with nanotechnologies, people are thinking in terms of how small can it get,
Right.
and how small is the use. But you just went the other way. You just went to actually the macro uses for nanotechnology. So a macro use would be, how about a T-shirt that can keep up with your health?
Oh, great. So it's going to nag me if I want to
Well,
go
you
eat
know,
a quart
you
of
got a
ice cream,
T-shirt.
and it's going to...
You know, when I head to, you know, trust me, my shirt is going to yell when I head to the Pronto Pup stand here in a minute.
Yeah, or you get to the grocery store and you're about to buy that 5-gallon tub of ice cream, and it sets off a red alert. And it's,
All right.
Yeah.
However, I'm going to flip that shirt around on you and go, how about we do a macro application of nanofibers that are cut resistant?
Oh.
So here you and I are crawling around in the wall, and there's that little nail you didn't see hanging out of the wall, and it grabs into your material, and instead of ripping into you and the T-shirt, how about it just glides off that frictionless surface?
Okay. So we're talking about, because like a lot of times, Alan, when you're building a home, you get it framed up, and you have to have that vapor barrier between it. Well,
Exactly.
imagine, and let's be honest, those vapor barriers are effective to a point, but once you drive a nail through them, well, you just created a breach.
Correct.
So you're talking
How
about
about
like,
a self-healing vapor barrier?
nice.
That the nanotechnology would automatically move back into position once you've gotten done what you were going to do.
Yeah. Well, the other thing that occurred to me, Alan, because out here in the Mid-South, we don't really have a lot of basements, but up in Chicago, everybody's got a basement.
Right.
And some people like to finish the basements, and I was thinking, talk about an effective vapor barrier you could have on the concrete for that, because that's one of the problems. Humidity still, moisture will find its way through concrete.
Well, not only moisture, but you also, the further underground you get, the more you have to deal with radon gas.
Oh, yeah.
So we really don't want, basically leftover radium leaking into your house.
Yeah,
So
probably a good idea.
Welcome to radon gas and why you don't want it. So yes, there are lots of technologies coming, and they're going to build on the technologies of the past.
Yeah.
Think about things that actually, when we talk about a smart house, how about a house that could tell you you've got a leak anywhere in the house?
Oh, yeah. I like that. Yeah.
How about a house that could tell you the vapor barrier's been penetrated?
Mold levels, moisture levels.
How about, so when we talk about smart technologies, all right, I know one of the running jokes is that no matter what you have to say these days, there's an app for that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, wait until everything in your home can communicate with you or is designed in such a way that it doesn't really need you.
Now, I don't like that, Alan. I
Well,
like the
I do.
communication, but I don't want iRobot taking over. I mean,
Well, I would like that roof that knew that it was time to get some maintenance on it.
yeah.
I
good
wouldn't
point.
mind my house sending me a text and going, dude, I think you got a leak in the bottom bathroom.
Yeah.
Instead of finding out later. One of the things that was a joy until central air became a big thing was eventually portable window unit air conditioners can get stopped up, and then they would begin dripping into the house.
Oh, yeah. Good
And
point.
you usually found that out after you'd been gone for a weekend and came in and stepped on that nice wet carpet.
Yeah. Or saw the sheetrock that was falling off the wall.
Or the shelf was peeling down the wall or anything like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the thought that all of these technologies are coming together, and I'll pick on one of my favorites, Wonderboard.
Oh, yeah.
Wonderboard is amazing. Basically, it is board strength, rigid concrete you can build with.
It is great. I'm not going to lie. I use it for more than just the subfloor stuff.
Oh, I use it for soffits. I use it for bathroom walls. I use it for especially anything that is going to be around moisture.
Yeah. I will say this, Allan, for people that love to just think doom and gloom and just think of how the world's falling apart, people, in terms of being a homeowner or in terms of just really just basic human comforts, we've never lived in a better time than this. And I mean, it's just going to make our homes more efficient and function easier and just less maintenance. More time to play video games, which is what we need.
As far as the less maintenance, I think this is where it's going to be the lesson that the more thought you put into something going into the project, the better it's going to be at the finish.
Absolutely, but we'll be keeping you up to date on the latest technology and how it's going to affect your home. You're listening to Tool Talk Radio, coming to you from the Brown Refrigeration tent here at the 33rd Annual Cooper Young Festival. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back.
News Talk 98.9, The Roar of Memphis. Tool Talk Radio with Joe and Allan.
And welcome to Hour 2 of Tool Talk Radio, coming to you from the Brown Refrigeration tent here at the Cooper Young Festival, the 33rd Annual Cooper Young Festival. Well, Allan, the weather's cooperating. It looked really threatening earlier, famous last words, but it's overcast and it's actually pretty comfortable.
There is actually a small patch of blue sky right behind us.
Absolutely.
It's
so
beautiful.
Come by and see us. We're 10 feet away from the famous gazebo at the corner of Cooper and Young. It's a lot of fun over here. So, and we haven't been zapped by lightning, Allan. Things are going great. So you can. The best way to get in touch with us today is to text us at the Big M Roofing and Remodeling Hotline at 901-683-0989. Better yet, I think you might even get quicker results if you send us a message at the Tool Talk Radio Facebook page, and we'll respond in real time. I got my phone here, Allan. I'll get the alerts immediately. When you're on a remote, you don't know what sort of technical issues you'll get, but we're hanging in there.
That is so true. And in our hour of need, once again, we want to thank Alchemy Restaurant.
Absolutely.
Oh my God. Well, that's just a great looking place. It is cool looking in there.
Great food.
So thank you to Nick Scott for literally powering our show this morning.
Or blame Rick Scott for Rick Scott, because
I'm going to thank him because I'm having a blast.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun over here, and drop into Alchemy later, get yourself a bite to eat. But definitely come by the booth today. Check out the Cooper Young Festival. It's just nice to see people out, and it is a fun festival. I'm glad they turned the music down over there. They were drowning us out a little bit, Allan. But
well, the word drowning was a worry earlier.
Yeah. So. Well, I don't know if this is drowning, but anyway, a little later in the show, we got our buddy Kelly Cruz coming in from Weichert Realtors Benchmark, and I wouldn't say drowning, but boy, the real estate market is squirrely. How's that? It's
so many of the rules have changed.
Yeah.
We used to have lots of inventory on the market, people buying and selling at a regular rate. And that is just not true anymore. Right now, it's hard to find anything.
It's like the Thunderdome. So she's going to come by. Kelly is a seasoned vet. She's just a lot of fun anyway.
Absolutely.
And, of course, a radio legend here in the Mid-South. So we get the best of both worlds. So she's going to be dropping by later to discuss that. So I want to mention one other thing before we get to our next segment, Allan. One of our other great sponsors is Big M Roofing and Remodeling. To talk about a timely thing, dealing with rain today. But
they're very popular today.
Our buddy Jay Hill, he runs a great operation over there. And one thing that's great about Big M Roofing and is highly unique, I dare say it's probably the most unique roofing company in the Mid-South. For one thing, they're GAF Master Elite installers. They're accredited with the Better Business Bureau. But Jay Hill is a former insurance agent, which is critical because it's possible you may qualify with your homeowner's insurance to get a free replacement on your roof, or not free, but they'll cover the majority of the costs. And if that's the case, that saves you thousands of dollars. But you need to navigate those waters, and you need to understand whether you do qualify or not. So get in touch with the good people at Big M Roofing. Call Jay Hill. He's a lot of fun anyway. The guy cracks me up. And he probably knows half the people you know because he knows everybody in the Mid-South. So give him a call at 901-484-5645, or you can go to bigmroofingandremodeling.com and get in touch with him that way. So, Allan, speaking of that, I wanted to, well, this isn't speaking of that. This is something different. You introduced a new segment a couple weeks ago, and it's called These Kids Today. Maybe I called it that. Whatever. It was a discussion, when you're buying a home, especially here in the Midtown area, you get some of these homes, they could be 100 years old. This is kind of a funky district. One of the reasons I love Cooper Young, it's just the vibe of the place. You get really interesting architecture. The people around here are pretty cool. But there's times if you're remodeling one of these older homes, you may find things and you're looking at it and you have no clue what that thing is.
It strikes me every so often. Oh, that was actually so amazingly apropos.
Yeah.
It doesn't strike me. Apparently, it strikes Joe from behind.
Okay.
He's just been assaulted by a sign.
You got that on video,
you guys
right?
should be here. Yes, we have
That's
that on
right.
video for later.
Okay.
That will definitely be in the best of reel. A lot of times people will be looking at stuff, and one of the things that came up was basically old-fashioned radiators.
Oh, okay, because I had an offering, but you go ahead. Tell me about these radiators.
You look at you need to go back in time. You need to look at 20, 30, 40-year-old detective and mystery movies, and somebody has hidden something behind the radiator. Something has been tied to, or better yet, your heroine or hero has been handcuffed to it.
I mean, a radiator is a pretty solid piece of...
And this was, and it's exactly what it looked like. You go into an old building and sticking out of the wall, it looks like a radiator.
Right.
And this is just not something you see in a lot of modern construction.
Although I will say, I didn't even mean to get in a radiator talk. Radiant heat is very pleasant because one of the nice things with a typical heater, it basically makes the air drier. Well, you can warm the air with radiant heat without taking away from the humidity. So it's a lot of fun. But anyway, I have an offering when we come back. You're listening to Tool Talk Radio, coming to you from News Talk 98.9 The Roar of Memphis. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back.
Tool Talk Radio with Joe and Allan. News Talk 98.9, The Roar of Memphis.
And welcome back to Tool Talk Radio, coming to you from the Brown Refrigeration Tent at the 33rd Annual Cooper Young Festival. I'm Joe Thorgerson with Thor's Hammer, Carpentry, and Wood Turning, here with my buddy Allan Gilbert from Geeky Side TV. Don't call us, but do text us. You can text us at the Big M Roofing and Remodeling Hotline at 901-683-0989. Better yet, send us a message at the Tool Talk Radio Facebook page. I have my phone right here, Allan. I will get the alerts. We'll answer pretty much in real time.
Basically,
and of course,
you have an app for that.
Yeah, I got an app for that.
There you go.
Follow us and get in touch with us. Join the Tool Talk Radio community. Hey, Allan, before the break, we were talking about one of our segments that we're introducing, These Kids Today. And I feel like this is useful information because, you don't want mysteries in your home. You don't want to be looking at something, especially if you own one of these older homes. That's really what our focus is. And I know we have listeners outside of the Memphis area, and everybody's got that Midtown section. You might have homes that are 150 years old.
Or older. Yep.
My observation is, you were telling us about radiators. A lot of times you might go to remodel and you're looking at something, and for the life of you, you just don't even know what you're looking at. My observation, Allan, is a lot of these things we're bringing have to do with the way the homes are heated or the way the airflow moves. The one I was going to bring to you is I was in a home recently where all of the rooms above the door had like a thin kind of window, and that could open and close. In fact, a lot of them were open. And tell people what that is, because some people may not really know.
All right, we're going to go back to the future for airflow.
Talk to me.
We're in the days before air conditioning. Air conditioning was accomplished by keeping the air moving.
Right.
And the last thing you wanted was absolutely stagnant air.
Yeah.
So even though you wanted things to be open, you wanted things to be available, you still need to be able to close your door and that type of thing. However, you wanted that slat open above the door so that air still moved.
Right. Absolutely. So
not a giant feature today, but it's making a comeback because now.
Well, like you said, you got to keep that. You may not want that light coming in from the hallway when you're trying to sleep in or something. So maybe they become tinted or something.
Well, but this is where we're going to be going back to the future, because when we started talking about better R ratings and more energy efficient homes, well, all homes back in the past all had to deal with energy and expelling energy, normally heat or cold.
Right.
So in pre-air conditioning days, especially in the South, we had long hallways. We had areas that brought air through. One of your favorites is the attic fan.
Oh, those things are the best, man. Yep.
Now, just picture what we had to deal with pre-electricity.
Sure.
You're still dealing with trying to expel heat and retain the temperature that you want.
Yeah.
So if you lived in a more northern clime, you were more concerned about warming the home. In the southern climes, we were more concerned about cooling the home. So all of those technologies are going to be moving us forward. And the cool thing is a lot of these technologies have drastically changed, and fads have come and gone over the years.
Yeah.
So for the new person, I'm going to look at the 30-something or 40-something getting into their home. If you've purchased a 40-year-old home, at least 2 technology fads have come and gone since that house was built.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
One of the worst ones was aluminum wiring.
Yeah, yeah.
We still run into that.
Sure. Yeah, the 20th century, I mean, you watched, not only that, businesses. We've seen Blockbuster Video was the hottest business ever. We saw it come in, and then we saw it go out in our lifetime.
Technologies have changed. Well, just look at windows. Imagine the person remodeling their home, and they have an old style window, and they open up the wall next to it, and they're wondering what that pulley, the rope, and this really big weight is doing hanging in the wall.
And that was the height of cool, right? When you had one of those counterbalances.
Oh, if you had a
counterbalanced
window when they first came out, your family you were well to do.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So we're going to keep an eye on that, because it is interesting to see these, see the way things change and see the way things evolve in the home. And of course, if you've got anything that you're puzzled about, if you've ever said, send us a picture. Point to that and say, what the heck is this thing? And if you can stump Allan, you get a free T-shirt. So.
Well, and I'll throw in the other one of how many people have the mystery switch.
Oh, yeah.
Or
that outlet. There's some funky-looking outlets in older homes.
And you have no idea what it is or what it went to.
Yeah.
And nothing you've seen today matches it.
Nope. It's pretty interesting. So, well, Allan, I'm kind of moving back into I guess this is in keeping with our rethinking. Here at Tool Talk Radio, we just like people to think differently. And I want to talk about concrete. Talk about a shift.
Oh, yeah.
We're going. So I feel like, in thinking about some of these futuristic materials we were talking about earlier and everything, I'm thinking concrete is not living up to its full potential, especially outside. And here's my thought. Okay, I'm looking at brick homes, which are great.
Right.
I love brick. But who's to say your house can't be wrapped in concrete? Now, I don't want the stale concrete color like you get, when you're pouring a curb or something. But concrete can be stained and colorized and in virtually any color you want. I'm like, and when you start looking at that, it gets interesting.
Well, it can be shaped, it can be textured, it can be layered, it can produce a faux effect of almost anything these days.
Right.
There are artisans out there that you'll swear you're walking on a oak plank floor.
Oh, yeah.
No, you're not. You're walking on colored and textured concrete.
Absolutely.
I think it really comes down to what people are used to or what they're comfortable with.
Well, you call it legacy thinking, Alan.
It is.
And we want to fight against that to a degree, right? I mean,
well,
because otherwise you don't try new things. I mean, if you're just stuck in it, if it has to be a brick house.
All right. Well,
who says?
The first question I have anytime somebody brings me a new material is, why are we not already doing this?
Oh, good point. Yeah.
So a lot of times you want to go sit down and look at it. Now, this is where I'm going to throw in, once again, technology has massively changed. I have a situation where it involved an ice machine, of all things. And it's about 30 years old.
Yeah.
And do we fix it? Do we change out the compressor? Or can you just run down to your local, and we're going to say big box store for home goods,
right,
and buy an ice maker for a fifth of the price?
Yeah.
And it's sitting on the shelf because technologies have changed.
Yeah.
And the new one that you can buy is self-cleaning, automatically takes care, you're looking at this, even has LED lighting in it so you can see what you're doing. And it's just just minor changes that have made such a huge difference in just the last 20 years.
Folks, if you're listening, you'll notice there's always a subtle tug of war going on here on Tool Talk Radio. I'm trying to talk about colorized concrete,
yes,
and Alan is driving us into the kitchen. That's sort of your goal, Alan. You always get at something that's going to go in the kitchen. But I want to circle back to what you said about colorized concrete with the shaping of it, because that's the thing. Who says the outside of your wall has to just be a straight brick wall? I guess, and I'm not picking on brick because I love brick, but
right,
I just think we can start getting more exciting, and honestly, this is probably more cost effective too.
Well, I've actually seen, and this is mostly down in Florida, I have seen a number of homes where an artisan moved into a traditional home and went, watch this.
Yeah.
And I have seen some of the most spectacular builds, and it usually involved stucco, plaster, concrete, statues of different, just a completely different point of view about how they wanted their home to look or feel.
Sure. Well, and I thought too, the reason I like it is, am I wrong? Concrete's still readily available. Isn't it one of the most affordable?
It is.
Okay.
It's durable, it's affordable, and it comes in, and this is where you need a little education. There are a lot of different grades and levels of concrete.
Sure.
You have your hydro concretes that can set up in as fast as 5 minutes. You have waterproof concretes. You have water permeable concretes. And you haven't seen a lot of fun until you see somebody build what is called a desiccation pad.
You love that word, Alan.
It
wouldn't be Tool Talk. That's a new drinking game. If Alan doesn't use the word desiccation, explain what that is so we don't get the wrong idea.
But picture this. So you've, let's say you've got a trash can that's become full of water.
Okay.
All right, well, if you dump it on your driveway, what happens to it?
Yeah.
The water goes just rolling off everywhere.
Right.
Well, there are now a number of companies making permeable concrete pads so that when you need to go dump something full of water or full of a liquid, it will actually absorb through the concrete.
Do we want that, Alan?
Well, for
Sounds
certain
dicey.
applications, absolutely.
Okay. All right.
Now, I'm not saying necessarily for your driveway, but for certain, especially industrial and different mechanical installations, how about something that's not going to flood?
Okay. All right. Well, let's keep that conversation going. I like concrete. I think there's just a lot of great options and everything. So, hey, Alan, speaking of great options for, I don't know if this is a segue or not to do with concrete, but tell us what's going on with Geeky Side TV. Because it seems like it's growing every week.
Well, at Geeky Side TV right now, one of the hottest shows we have is Storyteller by Scott Carroll. And you need to pop in and take a look and catch up and have a little fun.
Absolutely. Geeky Side TV. Well, you're listening to Tool Talk Radio, coming to you from News Talk.
Tool Talk Radio with Joe and Allan.
People really don't know how to finish wood properly.
News Talk 98.9, the roar of Memphis.
I resent that, Ron Swanson. I do know how to finish wood properly. And welcome back to Tool Talk Radio, coming to you from the Brown Refrigeration tent here at the 33rd Annual Cooper Young Festival. We're right at the corner of Cooper and Young. Just look for the gazebo, and we're about 10 feet behind that. So I'm Joe Thorderson with Thor's Hammer, Carpentry, and Wood Turning, here with my buddy Allan Gilbert from Geeky Side TV, and our special guests Kelly Cruz and Adam Dawson from Weichert Realtors Benchmark. Don't call us, but you can text us at the Big M Roofing and Remodeling Hotline at 901-683-0989. Better yet, if you do need to communicate with us, go to the Tool Talk Radio Facebook page and send us a message there, and we'll answer in real time. Well, especially if you've got a real estate question, because talk about the people to talk to. So, Hey, Kelly Cruz, welcome back.
Hey, thank you. It's great to be back.
Radio
and how fun. I love this live business. Bring it on.
You're the top.
Just giggling because it's not you. I know. I've watched your eyes.
All of this starts coming back to me. The chaos behind the radio. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It was crazy a couple of minutes ago. We had a band coming through here with the drums pounding, the girls dancing. We're like, well, okay.
Welcome to live.
Yeah.
Well, Kelly, you know, of course, you're a radio legend here in the Mid-South. We've known you forever. But you got into the real estate game about 20 years ago.
Yeah.
So, no offense, but I think of you as like a battle-hardened warrior in the, in
I
the
think that
trenches
people
of
have
real
called
estate.
me that. Real estate, well, interestingly enough, I was a flight attendant in between that. And all of these occupations that I've had, these careers, you just learn to deal with whatever comes your way, and you learn to fly by the seat of your pants and do the best that you can in the moment. And all of that helps in any of these occupations. But I find in real estate, you have to keep a cool head. You have to stay on target. You have to get the job done, no matter what it takes. And there's some crazy stuff real estate agents have to do, and there's some crazy people we have to deal with, and I'm not saying that in a bad way, but people get emotional, and especially now with the market the way it is, when you've got 25 offers coming in on one house, the tension is so high, and even the selling agent that's listed it, the agent that's listed the house is stressed out, the people that are putting the bids in are stressed out. And they're all waiting, and they're like, what's taking so long? Well, they've got to go through 25 contracts. It's going to take 3 days before we hear anything. No!
Yeah.
It's just, it's very crazy.
Well, and you're buying a home, which you're going to live in, and which you're going to raise a family in. So just alone, there's those emotions. But, if you're going to buy or sell a home, especially in this market, you need that competitive edge, and that's one of the reasons we always recommend Weichert Realtors Benchmark, because you guys, like I said, you've seen every market, and you've got unique tools that other real estate companies don't have. Tell us about those.
Weichert in general, just the Weichert chain itself in the United States has the largest network of home selling, where we get the message out to so many people above and beyond anybody else in the market. So when we list your home, it's immediately going out to like 45 websites across the nation and internationally. So if somebody is in Ireland and wants to see your house online, and they're going to get immediate, information and be able to contact people.
Well, that is a very good point. People need to remember. Home selling is not just a local thing anymore.
No.
And especially if you're in a city like Memphis,
FedEx,
of Nashville, Atlanta, any hub out there, you honestly could have customers looking at your home from anywhere in the world.
Absolutely.
I think that surprises people when you say that.
Well, there's a lot of international people moving to Memphis. I'll tell you who's really moving to Memphis. Californians.
Oh, really?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Lots of California. We're seeing a lot of people move from D.C. also.
I have friends in California, and the minute I mention the word no state income tax, you'd be amazed how interested
Oh, they're
they
so thrilled.
Yeah.
And you talk about a, $700,000 house, they're like, and it has 5 bedrooms? Are you kidding me?
Oh, yeah.
We're lucky to have 2.
Right. And the other thing, too, what I like about Weichert Realtors Benchmark people, if you're in Ireland listening to us right now, you're not going to have to go to 5 different places to get the financing, to get your underwriting and all that. You guys do it all, which is really a lot of peace of mind, and it gives you, I think, a competitive edge because you can get all that stuff ready so that when it's time to pull the trigger and buy. I mean, I don't think there's any other companies that do that in town, right?
Well, I think it's very unique and puts us in a great place for buyers or sellers because we are really under one roof. We can offer so much from start to finish. So you can come in for free and talk with us. You can get all the information you want about your house before we list it so you can know what your house is worth, what the competition is. We're going to show you pictures of other homes and compare to yours. We're going to give you what you can take away when you finish closing, because that's an important question. You know, after I pay these commissions and the stacks and blah, 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 what's left over? We tell you that on the front end. And then we hold your hand through the entire process. And for buyers, we offer something really unique, and that is that Sheila Lipman, who is in charge of our mortgage, we offer Benchmark Mortgage with under our roof. And she is such an amazing woman. She gets it done, and she will take your information and have you underwritten on a desktop before you go out to buy a home. So what that means to the seller when you're putting an offer in and you got 20 other offers is that basically you're right there at the edge of closing. You just got to find the house. Everything you've turned in to us has already been approved and underwritten through the programs. So there's no surprise. You know what you can get. Your offer is 100% great.
You just went to the front of the line, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, because let's face it, like you said, within the course of an hour or two, you could be getting offers on a home once it's listed.
Yeah,
so.
The only thing that could beat what we offer is 100% cash. And honestly, you know, there are some people out there that do that, investors. But if you're just, you know, with the average public, I mean, we're offering something really special.
No, it's great. Well, and there's a unique culture at Weichert Realtors Benchmark. As we said, you also have a pool table and a foosball table and a great kitchen. It's a lot of fun when you go in there, and that's sort of the idea. Quick, easy, and fun.
Yeah, we do make it fun.
And so give the kids something to do while mommy and daddy are doing all that paperwork.
Absolutely. Take the stress away. We don't need any more stress these days, do we?
Well, Kelly, as a seasoned agent, you know, you it looks like so you brought Adam in today.
Yeah.
And Adam, you're kind of on the other side of the coin, right? You're the rookie.
Yes, sir.
No offense, man, but
it's fine.
So Al, introduce us to.
So this is Adam Dawson, and our broker wanted to have him in today because Adam has only been with Weichert for 6 months.
It's been 4. I've had my license.
4, amazing. Well, see, I thought it was even longer. He's already kicking butt and taking names. So.
Oh, really?
And he came from an interesting background. You were a PT.
I was in PT school, actually getting my doctorate. I just got accepted into a program before I started real estate.
And what made you change your career and get into real estate?
Well, leaving PT school, I realized I really wasn't made for a 9-to-5. You know, I really enjoyed the helping people and the physical aspect of it and learning all of that. But you know, when I realized I wasn't made for a 9-to-5, I started working for my family business and didn't have that helping people portion that I really care about. So that's when I transitioned into real estate.
Wow. Well, that makes a huge difference, doesn't it? I mean, you went from, you know, going through school to go, you know what, maybe I want to try real estate out. And so how did
in this market? That's what I think's hilarious.
I know. That's what I talked about with Adam already is like, how did you decide to get into the market right now? Because any real estate agent that's out there that's been in this market for at least, 4 or 5 years, they are saying, we're all saying, like, this is so crazy right now. It would be so hard to start because there's rules, but the rules are bending, okay, because of so many offers, and not that you're breaking any rules or anything. It's just that you've got to constantly think out of the box. So what's been your experience?
Well, the reason I started now, I actually had a friend, a really dear friend of mine, pass away from COVID in January, and that really inspired me because she was younger than I was. She was 23 when she passed away, and it was hard for our whole friend group. But the one thing we found closure in is that, Lupe, she did what she wanted when she had the opportunities. She didn't wait around, so she lived the best life she could, and that made me pull the trigger because it was something I had thought about for a long time. I mean, years. I've spent time, looking up things on Zillow and watching HGTV, and it was time for me to pull the trigger.
Awesome. We're going to find out more about being a newbie in the real estate business.
Yeah, I
now.
want to hear more of this. So.
It's very cool.
You're listening to Tool Talk Radio here on News Talk 98.9 The Roar, Memphis. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back.
Tool Talk Radio with Joe and Allan.
You've got paper and you've got paint. A deadly combination! Let me show you something.
News Talk 98.9 The Roar of Memphis.
And welcome back to Tool Talk Radio, coming to you from the Brown Refrigeration tent here at the 33rd Annual Cooper Young Festival. If you want to come by, we're going to be here all day. We're going to be giving out some Tool Talk Radio swag, sort of. Geek Tank Radio, our buddy Brandon Olmstead is going to be joining us shortly for a rare live Geek Tank Radio, live audience, you could say. And
I think it's just rare we got him outside.
Yeah, no, it's coming up. And we're going to have some swag from some of our great sponsors like Brown Refrigeration, Tri-State Interiors, Weichert Realtors, Big M Roofing. We're visiting, in fact, here with our friends Kelly Cruz and Adam Dawson from Weichert Realtors Benchmark. And Kelly, Adam is a rookie.
That's right.
And you're bringing him into this madness. And, what has that been like, Adam?
So,
Jeez.
so he's 4 months into it. And, just to let you know, Weichert is always looking for new real estate agents. Or if you're seasoned and want to come over and join us, we offer a great program. And you will love our brokers.
Well,
Keith Gilliam and Rick Bowman.
I've known Rick for 25 some odd years, and it says something that there's almost no turnover over there.
Yes.
People come and they stay. That's something to think about.
20 years.
Right.
I mean, that's unheard of. But people stay on for the long haul. And we do get a lot of folks that come over and join us. Like you said, it appears that we're really fun, and we are.
Yeah.
We make it enjoyable.
Hey, we want Adam to weigh in because we're going to find out. But before we get to that, we never told anybody how to get in touch with the people at Weichert Realtors.
Oh, well, you can call our phone number. It's real easy, 202-2000. That's 202-2000. We're located right across from TPC Southwind on Hacks Cross Road. You'll see a dentist office out front, and we own a complex right behind that through a gate. So, but the gate is always open during the day, but you can go through back there, and you're welcome to just pop in if you want to. If you want some information, just knock on our door and come on in, and we'll help you right then and there.
You're going to have a lot more fun at Weichert Realtors than you will at the dentist, too. So, hey, Kelly, I kind of like that you're sort of interviewing Adam for us. So, Allan and I are kicking back.
I'm enjoying this.
But I'm kind of interested in Adam's journey, like what got him here.
Yeah, so right before the break, he was talking about, how he got into switching gears into real estate from being in the PT industry. And, Adam, what has been your craziest experience being a newbie so far?
My craziest experience, really just the pace of the market. I was doing a FaceTime for some buyers walking through a house not too long ago, and you get 15-minute showings. The houses are on the market the same day, getting multiple offers, so you're kind of ad-libbing as you're going through the houses.
15-minute showings, that kills me.
Oh, yeah.
So, I'm walking through, pointing things out. This is a very formal house, formal furniture and decor. Opening some cabinets, showing them around the house, and I turn the corner into a formal dining room, and I'm talking to them, and I realized that the whole dining room is a giant mural of a village, but all the people are monkeys.
And you're on FaceTime.
Yeah, they're fishing, they're driving cars, they're cooking, and I froze. I didn't know what to do. I was just standing there for 30 seconds, having to look. I had to look to see what all was in this painting.
Oh, absolutely.
And Adam, are you there? I'm like, oh yeah, sorry.
come on, Kelly. And now,
okay, and there may be a small amount of painting to be done when you move in.
Yeah.
But,
Most will offer same day. The house is probably gone by now. So.
It's that'd have been a huge selling point to me.
I was about to say I'd go the whole other route. Just get in touch with some of Allan's friends. That would be, you wouldn't have to do anything to that house. So. Oh my gosh, that's funny. You got pictures? You got photo evidence of this adventure?
Yeah, I'm sure I can get some.
I need to see that. Now that's a first, Kelly.
Well, I mean, but you don't know sometimes. I mean, agents, it's up to the listing agents to put pictures of the house on, but things are going so fast that literally some agents today will put only an exterior shot. They're putting it on the market and say, offers taken today, blah, blah. I mean, people are making appointments like Adam, to go into the house sight unseen except for an exterior shot. And you don't know what you're going to, you're hoping. You can look at past listings and see, what the people previously that lived there did,
right.
But you don't know what the current people are doing.
Well, basically, the house isn't on fire, it's not underwater, and it's for sale. So,
well,
right?
I have to tell you a story that Rick shared with me yesterday, one of our brokers. Collierville is on fire.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we got a band coming through, the Cooper Young Festival, which is where we are broadcasting live from today. But I talked to Rick yesterday, and he said he had a buyer in Collierville, and they found a house that was pretty much near a teardown. It was just terrible inside. But because Collierville is so hot and the schools are so awesome, people will do anything to get in there. And here's an example. Rick's buyer bought the house at $100 a square foot, which is ridiculous.
Ooh.
That's low.
Yeah.
But it's a house, and it's in tear-down condition. So he paid, and it had 3,000 square feet. He paid $300,000 for the house. Okay.
Right.
$300,000 for the house, and it's near teardown.
Yeah.
It's because of that land, right? I mean, location.
Well,
you're right.
It's the 5 top rules of real estate.
Yep, absolutely, and it's never been more important than it is right now.
Yeah. Hey, I'm kind of looking at Adam though. In a way, Adam, I feel sorry for you because you got this great monkey murals experience, but it's probably going to be all downhill after this. Right? I mean, when are you ever going to top that?
Oh, I don't know.
You peaked early.
You never
sir.
know what you're going to see, so I'm sure something else will happen.
And if you're out there and you're a creative writer, I want to hear how you would have listed that to make it a selling point too. Send us a message. How do you promote that? That sounds good.
I really admire Adam though, because in 4 months he's gone through training with Benchmark. You want to talk about that for a second?
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of my success is due to just the pure training and time that everyone spent with me at Weichert. Keith Gilliam sat down with me and read every line of a contract. Every head of every department. I haven't talked to someone at Weichert for 5 minutes and them not helped me.
It's a good culture over there.
It is. I walked in the doors and I was like, I belong here.
Oh, yeah. I would never tell Rick Bowman this to his face, but he's a pretty great guy, and he does cultivate a good business aura.
Yeah, he does. I think he's as good of a talent agent as he is a real estate agent, finding all of us, really. He believes in us before we believe in ourselves. So.
Good
That's
people over
perfect
there.
to say, because he really is that way. He will share anything he can with you and help you. You can call him on the spur of the moment at 9 o'clock at night, and he'll answer the phone.
Can we call you at 9 o'clock
Well,
at night?
yeah. I finished a contract. Honestly, guys, I finished a contract at 12:05 in the morning this week.
I can believe that.
You
these
work
days.
till it's done.
Absolutely. So tell us again how to get in touch with help over at Weichert Realty Benchmark.
Our number is real easy to remember. It's 202-2000, and we're located on Hacks Cross, right across from TPC Southwind.
Okay. Hey, Adam, consider yourself a friend of the show. We're going to bring you back on under less hectic circumstances. Believe it or not, at the studio, it's pretty calm over there. We threw him right into the fire. The guy's dealing with monkey murals and and the insanity of the Cooper Young Festival. Well, make sure you get down to the Cooper Young Festival. We want to see you. We're going to be here at the News Talk 98.9, the Roar of Memphis promotional booth, but it's time to get out of here. So on behalf of my buddy Allan Gilbreth and our friends Kelly Cruz and Adam Dawson, I'm Joe Thorderson. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week.